Hey, what's up? Welcome everybody to a new session. Um, Happy Thursday, and welcome everybody again. In previous lessons, we've been discussing about um, uh, computers. No, not computers. See, I got a nice home, right? Good, and I'm just trying like new backgrounds and stuff like that, Zoom backgrounds. And so we've been discussing about number two, society and media, the power of media, um, and also about for and against essays and so on. You know that we need to study functional contents like writing essays, also about social networks and media and stuff like that, and also we need to study some grammar. We should be studying imperatives, but today we're gonna deal with the lexical contents about the society, media, television, social networks, and stuff like that. Okay, and I'm gonna be reading the the chat room also if you want to make comments. And we're live on YouTube right now, and uh, let's do this. I'm gonna start sharing my screen with you guys right now, and we're gonna study a little bit of English vocabulary in use. Um, I'm gonna be in this case muting some of you guys. Yeah, not just yeah. Um, so chapter number 74 in English vocabulary use is about newspapers, and chapter number 75 about television, and chapter 70 in this case 7 about computers, but we're just going to deal with in this case 74 and 75. You know that newspapers and the TV are connected. Many powerful people, um, families, corporations are owners of the media in general. Um, Luxic, for example, he owns pretty much like 50% of the country. No, I'm just kidding. But he's very powerful, and you know that he contributes, or he's partly the owner of the media. You know, Channel 13, lands, companies, etc. So when you got powerful people, normally um, they pretty much control what happens in their companies, and it happens with the newspapers, with TV channels. Their owners normally are partisans of some in this case let's say political movement, or maybe an ideologies, or probably liberal or conservative or traditional or religious in particular. So everybody is pretty much biased. I mean, it's very difficult not to be biased, because el sesgo is something natural in human beings, because of our own experiences, or because how we were raised, how we were educated, and the groups that we belong to, the social class we belong to, the territory we live in, etc. So it's very difficult to get rid of bias, and it happens with also the media in general. I'm going to show you like a chart that I think I uploaded this thing on eCampus, but I'm not pretty sure about that. But it can show you like it's only a representation. The idea is to try to represent how in this case, the American and British or the Anglo-Saxon spectrum of is distributed. And you see, for example, that there are like axes, como ejes, which are horizontal or vertical, and then you can see, for example, here, most extreme left, hyper partisan left, using this scale, like this logic, which sometimes can be not very I mean, it's really clear, but sometimes we need, I prefer to analyze the political spectrum with the axis, authoritarian, liberal, and then left, right, so you got four, in this case, uh, points and axis, in which you can maybe position some political views with more clarity. But in this case, this may work for the exercise. And here we have, for example, this axis here, is dealing with the quality of the information delivered by this Anglo-Saxon media in general. For example, here we can see original fact reporting, complex analysis, opinion in this case, and then incomplete story, unfair persuasion, propaganda, contain misleading info, and so on. So you can see, for example, some, in this case, digital newspapers, TV channels, and so on. So we can see some well-known, corporations like CNN right here, which is, there is fair persuasion analysis, and it's pretty much like around, in this case, in between left, like a wink to the left, but also within the neutral, in this case, supposedly balanced bias. In the middle right here, we got Business Insider, Forbes, Time, USA Today, ABC News, Bloomberg, the agency Reuters, and so on. On the left, we got here, for example, the Washington Post, the Guardian, which is British, the in this case, New Yorker, and here on the right, we can see, for example, Fox News. Of course, it's conservative. Daily Wire, Washington Times, American Conservative. A lot of different weekly newspapers. The Economist is another, in this case, magazine, Wall Street Journal, and so on. But like in the United States and Great Britain, they have more TV channels, and they have more newspapers, right, than in Chile. In Chile, we got just a few channels in comparison to them, and also a few newspapers, weekly or daily newspapers. I think there is more variety related to newspapers in our country rather than TV channels. I think maybe the most, in this case, liberal could be La Red, which I think is a very good, in my personal opinion, I think it's a very good TV channel in comparison to the others. We could have better TV, but La Red is pretty much like, in this case, they can treat, the social and political issues with more freedom, in my personal opinion, and that really bothers maybe the power, the upper social classes, because of the, that you heard, maybe you heard that Piñera was trying to persuade or attack a little bit La Red, calling through another person, the owner of La Red. That guy is an American citizen living in Florida state, and it was like really embarrassing for Chile at the international level. So those kinds of things, make me have some sort of respect for La Red, right? They have channels of their own state. Exactly. Yeah, in America, for example, in the United States, they got lots of channels which are local in their states, and also there are some others which are like big corporations, big networks, even around the world, right? And but yeah, I mean, the media in this case is biased, and they may say that they have no bias, but many times they are biased in different ways. So journalism is something which is very important for democracies. very important because they have the responsibility to report, inform the population about what's going on. But it's really difficult when, in this case, the owners of these companies got, in this case, a certain, political, in this case, activism, or they are like partisan of some, point of view, right? Partisan is to be, in this case, to be, in this case, part of an ideology, part of a community or political movement, and it's very clear that they belong to and they advocate that point of view. Eso es como ser en el caso del partisan, porque cuando tú apoyas, digamos, abiertamente un movimiento político en específico y públicamente tú apareces con ciertos personajes que pertenecen a ese espectro político. So that's to be like partisan or maybe hyper partisan if you, of course, publish things that are in favor of certain, political side or wing. And but journalism should be, in this case, fair, and should be, in this case, apolitical. But that's really difficult today. I think that is very hard today to be like, in this case, neutral. It's really hard to be neutral or impartial. Because there are many things happening around the world, and everybody has an opinion, and that's okay. But supposedly we need to support what is right, and so on. Now, coming back to here, we're going to be dealing a little bit with this section, and I'm going to ask somebody in the class to help me with the reading. Maybe let's see who's in the class right now. Antonia, can you hear me? Antonia Trincao?
Yes.
Can you help me, please, Antonia, with the reading, in this case, background, and some newspapers here?
Okay.
Thank you.
Background. In Britain, most newspapers are daily. They come out are published every day. A few only come out on Sundays. Magazines are usually weekly. They come out every week or monthly, published every month. Some newspapers are tabloids, small in size. Example, The Mirror. Others are called broadsheets, larger in size. Example, The Times. In general, the tabloids represent the popular press, short articles and lots of pictures, and the broadsheets represent the quality press, longer articles and more serious. The largest circulation number of readers is The Sun.
Thank you very much, Antonia. Thanks a lot.
You're
Good
welcome.
job. All right, so if we, for example, compare this types of, in this case, newspapers with the Chilean newspapers, can you find any examples in Chile of the tabloids or the broadsheets or the popular press versus the more serious press, and stuff like that? Can you give me some examples, according to your opinion, of course? Let's say El Mercurio. What kind of newspaper is El Mercurio? Any ideas, opinions about El Mercurio? I'm gonna read the chat. The one I used to rap class. I like that one, Paula. Clinic could be a tabloid, I think. Yes, the Clinic is a tabloid. Absolutely, Mateo. Quality Press, Monse. Are you kidding, Monse, or is that your serious opinion? They have channels of their own state. Yeah. I read that thing. Yeah. Have you seen the phrase El Mercurio miente? Yeah, I've seen it lots of times in coming from the social estallido, the social outbreak. Well, some political spectrum in Chile, some political position is that El Mercurio lies all the time, but maybe some others support El Mercurio as quality press and serious and a serious, for example, newspaper. I respect those opinions because I respect people, but I, I may say that many of those newspapers are owned by powerful people in our country, right? It's like the head of the mob with letter C, La Tercera
Yeah.
and El Mercurio. Yeah.
I didn't say it in like I say it like in a technical way. It is quality press, but
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
we all know is it doesn't say the truth. It's completely different and focused on the right side.
Yeah, I suspected that. Yeah, you sospeché so coming from you once, so don't worry. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, and I'm not against the people who read El Mercurio. I mean, there's a lot of maybe interesting articles. There's a lot of money invested in this newspaper, and but maybe sometimes the views that it represents may kind of conservative in that case. Maybe it doesn't matter. It's okay, Monsignor. I understand. Don't worry. It's true when you say that yeah, there's a lot of money invested in the quality of the material and stuff like that. Um, that's okay, once I understand. All right, and also there is like more popular, like the clinic or Le Monde Diplomatique and stuff like that. Like El Siglo, and different, more tabloids in this case, which are weekly, and some others are more like daily, like newspapers and stuff. They got different budgets, like como presupuestos, and they're journalists and reporters. They make more money, they make less money. Pulimetro, La Hora, those are kind of free in this case, newspapers like tabloids, which they are in this case financed by the advertisement. That's why they're for free, because a lot of companies, they pay for, in this case, their ads, so they pretty much make money in that way. It's like massive tabloids, massive. They print millions of copies, but they, in this case, they make money on advertisement, which is okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Lo mejor era leer el horóscopo. That's so funny. Yeah, but it's a good thing that people read newspapers in general. I mean, reading is a good thing. Now, well, the quality of in this case of the information is different anyway. But keep on reading, guys. I think it's a good thing. I suppose that maybe you read digital newspapers. If you can find on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram also the digital versions. I suppose that you read in Spanish or English. I normally read, for example, a lot of digital newspapers on Instagram. Read CNN or read The Guardian, or read, for example, more. I I I'm not I'm not telling you that you should do this, because this is what I do. But normally I move from here to this way. These are the this is the type of media that I consume in my case. Um, Sometimes I read this thing, but only to know what people from a different perspective, what they think, but to know what they think. But I in this case, maybe I'm more like, in this case, kind of hyper partisan left and stuff like that. I move within this area, skews left and stuff like that. neutral sometimes. Yeah, it depends. But we can move. Of course, we can read whatever we want, but we can believe also whatever we want. And but in my personal case, I move along this way, here. Um, and let's continue. English vocabulary here. Um, Channel. I read. I don't know what you're talking about. If you can explain, no problem. All right. Contents. Most British papers contain the following, and there are different sections that maybe you can add more sections. Home news, foreign international news, business news, sports news, features, radio and TV programs, weather forecasts and reviews. The astrological signs are not included, maybe, but maybe some people like astrological signs. And that section is I know that is well read around for the people. And but there are like sections, maybe there's not a comic section. But big sad. Yeah, there's a comic section sometimes, especially at the end of the papers in general. But yeah, home news, normally local news in Chile, for example, international news, things in Europe, in the Middle East, business news. Normally, there are some papers which are like El Diario Financiero and so on, which are specifically focused on business. Or for example, I remember that La Cuarta used to have the sections, like really funny sections. But now I think La Cuarta is a little more it's popular, but a little more serious today. And there's no more like naked girls and stuff like that, which is good in my opinion. La Homa Cuarta. Sudokus, that's a good section too. Yes, yes. I missed that section, Monse. Yeah, oh my god, yeah, I used to. I remember there were some people who had these posters. They took like the middle pages and they put posters on some, I don't know, workshops like talleres and stuff like that. And it was like, what's wrong with these guys? La Ulca, yes. And I was like, what's wrong with these guys? And I never bought. I read La Cuarta, but I never bought the La Cuarta actually. And I only read it because of the funny, headliners, the funny headlines, and the language was so popular. But anyway, we need to read, but we need to read also quality language, and that's the idea. And well, what else? But today I think that the tendency is to read, digital newspapers, or Twitter, and also all the publications or the posts sometimes, uh, because of the power of the internet today, and the social networks. People, in this case, we got editors and reporters. Yeah, we know that the editor is the person in control of the data production. The editor is a filter. You can bring a really good piece of news, but if the editor says nope, you won't publish that thing. Reporters and journalists, what I was saying, it's very important, the independent journalism, really important. And especially, for example, I on Instagram, I subscribe, like, or I follow a lot of independent journalists. There is something like La Voz del Pueblo, or, for example, accounts which are, in this case, focused on film, situations in the street. They deal with political issues, and so on. Maybe more accounts on Instagram which are focused on independent journalism. That's really good. It's an alternative to the more massive journalism from TV channels and the big newspapers. So it's really good to read different things, to compare points of view, compare the visions, to have a wider perspective, of the situation and the reality in our country. I think it's really good. El Bio Bio, yeah. El Mostrador, for example, El Dinamo, the Clinic. There are a lot of different accounts on Instagram, on Twitter, which are in this case really interesting to, in my opinion, to read, and the videos that they show, etc. I don't know if you know El Nano videos, doblao. I mean, I know that that's like more, it's like funnier in that case, but it's interesting how they take the reality and some issues and they make it like they make it like show it like in a funny way, they criticize the reality in a very interesting from a very interesting perspective, and I laugh a lot with Doblao El Nano and how they make fun of the people, and I mean of the situations more than people, I guess, but sometimes the people, especially when it is Piñera and so on. Laugh for not cry. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I think it's interesting how some accounts, or yeah, some accounts, they in this case deal with the reality. All right, what else? In this case, headlines. Yeah, we know what headlines are. Normally headlines are right to the point. They use like a abbreviated language. They get rid of the prepositions and articles in general, and they use only significant and also sometimes sensationalist language, so that we can, oh, very interesting headline, so I'm going to read this thing. And so be careful with that. Also, and then we got exercises in this case. We got some questions, how many daily national newspapers are there? We are talking about that, how many are tabloids? We named some tabloids. Are any of the quality papers in tabloid form? I would say yes, in my personal opinion. The Clinic used to be like really, really a poor publication, and then it became really popular, and now I consider, in my case, the Clinic as a quality paper, because it has different formats, digital and physical, and the quality of the material has improved a lot. And also the articles shown then there, are very, very interesting. But I loved in this case the front pages. I love them all the time. Really, really funny front pages, covers in general. How many broadsheets are there? Not many in our country. How many newspapers only come out on Sunday in your country? The weekly, I don't know. There are daily and weekly. Publimetro is daily. El Mercurio, I don't remember if it is daily or weekly. The Clinic, I think, is weekly, but I can't remember very well. I only read digital now. What else? Which newspaper has the largest circulation? El Mercurio is like really, really popular. La Tercera, I think, is really popular too. I don't know what you think, guys. Which one is the largest? I mean, has the largest circulation today in our country? I see other people like just reading digital formats, not physical. El Pingüino. The next, can you name at least one editor of a daily paper, and 2 or 3 famous journalists who write for daily or weekly papers? You know what? I think that maybe we can talk about TV channels more than, no, Alejandra Matus. I love her, but she's now writing books. Monica Gonzalez, I think is the other name, the other lady, which normally they appear on La Red, but they used to write, but now they maybe they write articles, but they appear a lot on TV, you know. I think that's a very important, interesting journalism. How often do you read the newspaper? How often do you buy a newspaper? I used to be subscribed to a Mercurio many years ago, but I think it was a waste of money and time. And it's because they offered me that thing in a school, I remember, and I said, yeah, why not? But then I just unsubscribed. Yeah, I don't read that thing anymore. Example of headlines. Yes, typical headliners. Minister in tax row. Germany backs U.S. plan. Minister to quit. Yep, that's the typical, you know, headlines, like really short, but with a lot of meaning. Government cuts spending on new hospitals. New bid to cut teenage smoking. Bad weather hits farmers. Yep. Yeah, the exercises in this case to replace, in this case Germany supports US plan, I would say. Minister to resign. Government in this case, let's say, suspends spending, no, cuts, no, in this case is government cuts. What is the synonym to cut in this case? Government avoids spending on new hospitals, and so on. Japan and US enter fresh conversations, and stuff like that. Okay. Now let's talk about television, because they're really connected. You know, sometimes the TV channel and the newspaper have the same owner, like Luxic, for example. and so on, you know, like Piñera also, he owns, you know, different normally they buy stocks, you know, como que compran acciones, you know, so that's why we say that they own a part of some company, and so that they can like have a little bit of control of the situation. And you know, because of in this case, hold on, I'm going to read the chat. Los Edwards, yeah, of course, you know, powerful people also, they own a Mate, the Mate group, for example, Luxic, or for example, this more people, Angelini, and so on. But they own, you know, sometimes part of the in this case the media, and that's why sometimes the content can be a little bit manipulated. Operating television in this case, yeah, but these things, you know about this, you know, plug it in, enchufar, turn it on, remote control, yeah, easy stuff. Switch on, switch off, it's pretty much the same as turning on, turn it off. Switch it over is change the channel in this case. Turn over is switch the channel, same thing, you know. Types of program. There you go. I'm gonna ask somebody in the class to read this thing. Hold on. Mateo, are you there? Are you on this planet? Mateo, not here? Yes. Can you read, please? No problem, no problem. I would like you to read this thing, you know, types of program, all of this section, please. Can you? If you can't, it's okay.
¿Se me escucha?
Yeah, please.
Disculpe que estaba buscando los audífonos.
No problem.
Desde...
Types of program, all of it.
Okay. Types of program. Here are some types of TV program. Soap opera, a program often on 2 or 3 times a week, which follows the lives of a group community of people. The stories are often exciting, dramatic, and hard to believe. Quiz show or game show. Individuals, team or families who answer questions or play different games against each other. The winner gets a prize. Example, a car, a holiday, money. Chat shows, a program where a person talks to famous people about their lives and careers. Sometimes there's a music as well. Documentary, a film with factual information, often analyzing a problem in society. A series, a number of programs about the same situation or the same characters in different situations. This may be a comedy series. The programs are intended to be funny. Or a drama series. The programs are intended to be exciting, with interesting characters and situations. Current affairs program, a program about a current social or political problem. Current means that it's happening now at the present time.
Thank you very much, Mateo. Good job. Good job. Excellent. Thanks a lot. Now, so we got different types of programs in this case. Maybe there's nothing about morning programs, you know, like matinales, morning programs, or for example, the newsroom or news section. What else? Soap operas, yeah, like for example the Turkish soap operas, las comedias, what people call it, you know, teleseries. That's a soap opera, you know. Quiz show, game show, yeah, like for example Pasapalabra. Chat show, there are a lot of them. Maybe Y la Red, Mentiras Verdaderas, I love it. No, chat show in that case. Documentaries. Now I for example, in my personal case, I watch a lot of documentaries on Netflix, you know. Cable TV, you can see a lot of documentaries of course, Animal Planet, the National Geographic and so on. Series, Netflix, Disney Channel, cable TV, you know, series, a lot of them. Comedy series like The Office, but that's on a different platform today, you know. But TV channels too, I guess. Drama series. New Amsterdam, for example. I watched the whole series on Netflix, New Amsterdam, and I cried a lot of times because it was a really good drama series. Current affairs in that case is like Love and my goodness. That's a classic of the 90s, you know. Current affairs program. Yeah, in this case, I think it's really. I love to see sometimes Julio Cesar Rodriguez when he destroys people in the morning programs. Like, you know, you see politicians in morning programs today, and I think it's really good for the country in general to see, you know, politicians like defending and talking so that we can maybe attack and ask questions and stuff like that, you know, because they're not untouchable, you know. It's really important, I think, to talk about social problems, political situations and issues on the open TV, you know, daytime. I think that we, for many years, we were banned, or for many years, it was like a taboo to talk about politics in our country. But today, I think is a very important conversation, you know, a very important thing that we need to understand and deal with. The politics, you know, in general, like the big politics, not only the parties, but you know, the activity that you know, belongs to everybody. As that's my idea of politics, you know, la política como un acto social. You know, that's the idea, not only en los partidos políticos, so son una parte nomás de lo que es, you know, what politics is. All right. I think time is up. Cierto, pasó súper rápido la hora. Any questions or comments before we finish the lesson, guys? So next week we're going to continue with, in this case, talking about, you know, society and media, and also we're going to be dealing with grammar the next week. What else? Because next week is it ends in the 14th. Y después viene la semana de receso el 17, toda la semana de receso hasta el 21 que es feriado. Okay, so next week we deal with grammar and a little bit more for and against essays, porque ya después la semana del 24 le vamos a dar duro a todos los temas en todo caso, y la fecha de entrega del for and against sería como para el viernes 4 de junio, ¿ok? Así que ahí, any questions, any comments, just text me, and have a great day. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye,
Take
profe.
care. See
Chao, profe.
you.